Hello students, today we are going to study biology class 11th. We are going to start with chapter number 1, the living world. Okay. During this planet Earth is made up of two types of things, two types of components we can say. Planet Earth consists of two factors, that is biotic factors and abiotic factors. Biotic factors and abiotic factors. What do you mean by biotic and abiotic factors? Abiotic factors means the non-living things that are present around us. Okay, it means the non-living things that are present around us. Example, fire, water, pollution, sun. All these are non-living things, non-living factors. Okay? And biotic factors means all those organisms which have life in it. Okay, obviously all the living beings that are present around us are considered as living factors, living organisms. So, now there is one question that why do we call them living? Okay, why we are calling them living and how do they differ from non-living organisms? What is difference between the living and non-living organism? So, there are some characteristics that living organisms, living things possess. Okay, so now we will study about the basic principles of life, that is characteristics of living organisms. Let us start with the characteristics of living organisms, living things that are going to differentiate living from non-living organisms. First characteristics that living organism possess is metabolism. Okay, metabolism means all living organisms have metabolism. It means the total sum of chemical reactions that occur inside the organism is called metabolism. Metabolism, I repeat the definition, the total sum of chemical reactions that occurs inside the organism is called metabolism. Means all the reactions that are taking place in our body are known as, the reactions are known as metabolism. It is classified into two types, that is anabolism and catabolism. Let us study what is anabolism. It is the chemical reaction in which large molecules are built from small components. Okay, it means when a new molecule is built, large molecule is built from a small components. Many small components will join together and it will build a large component. These are constructive reactions. Since it is constructing a large molecule, so it is known as constructive reactions. Example for anabolism is photosynthesis process. You all might be aware about this process. Okay, photosynthesis process. Catabolism is the chemical reaction in which breakdown of large molecule into small components is occurring. Okay, large molecules break down into small components. These are destructive reactions. It is known as destructive because large molecule is broken down. Okay, example cellular respiration in which glucose is broken down into carbon dioxide and water. Okay, it means the respiration process. Is it clear? This is the first characteristic, that is metabolism. Every living organism shows this characteristic. All living organism is performing the process of metabolism. Second characteristic is growth. When I say growth, all the living things exhibit internal growth. Okay, the growth should be internal. Many times what happens, we have observed the sand molds, boulders, they grow, but that growth is not from inside. Such type of growths only take place in non-living things. the external growth takes place in non-living things. But actually, the growth and development process are unlimited. Okay, so this process takes place in living organism, and that should happen internally. It should be internal growth. Okay. Next characteristic is reproduction. During the lifespan, all living organisms reproduce themselves. Okay, that means all the living organisms are reproducing themselves. A dog will produce dog, a cat will produce cat, okay, a human being will produce human being, a monkey will produce monkey, and these living organisms reproduce asexually or sexually. So this is also one of the important characteristic of a living organism. Now here there is one problem, that is there are many mules and sterile worker bees that do not reproduce, but yet they are known as living. Okay, so we can say that reproduction is the characteristic of life, but we cannot say that reproduction is only the characteristic that is going to prove that the organism is living, because there are many sterile partners, they cannot reproduce, but that is not going to consider them non-living. Still they are living organisms. Okay. Then next characteristic is consciousness. Consciousness means all living organisms shows response to stimuli. They have interim relationship with the surrounding environment. Definitely you can see here that this is a pan that a person is holding, and it is being heated, and after some time when this heat will be transmitted to the pan will be becoming hot, and as the pan becomes hot, this person has removed the hands. That means this shows that response to stimuli. Definitely another example, very common example that I can give is when a mosquito comes and bites us, we immediately hit that mosquito. We don't allow that mosquito to bite us. So this is known as consciousness, immediate response to stimuli. Okay, so all living things respond to thermal, chemical or biological changes in the surrounding, and this is the unique property of living beings. Next property is cellular organization of the body. Okay, cellular organization means all living organisms have cellular organization. The cells forms the structural and functional unit of life. If the organism have only one cell, then those organisms are called as unicellular organism. Example, amoeba, paramecium, euglena, etc. And if the organisms have millions of cells or many cells, okay, showing the organ and organ system, then such cells are called multicellular organisms. Example, all the plants and animals. Next characteristic is size. The living organisms have definite form of size, okay, definite shape and size. Next is the aging process. Okay, so you can see here in this diagram, this image is very clearly seen. Initially there is a small child that is shown, then the child is growing, it becomes a small boy, then a young age person, then middle aged person, and finally the person is becoming old. This process is known as aging process. Okay, that means life has to continue. Okay, life has to continue, but what is happening at certain point of time, the molecules, the organ, the system begin to lose their effective working and become old. This is known as aging process. So every living organism shows this process. They become old. Okay, and after this aging process, the next characteristic that all living organisms shows is the death. Okay, as the body loses its capacity to perform metabolism, the organism dies, and that is also considered as one of the characteristics of living organism. So we have studied the different characteristics of living organisms such as metabolism, growth, okay, reproduction, then aging process, cellular organization, consciousness. Okay, so this all are the characteristics of a living organism that differentiate these living organisms from non-living organisms. Okay, so till here you have to study this chapter. Okay, after this the topics that are included in this chapter are 1.2 herbarium, 1.3 botanical gardens, 1.4 museum, 1.5 zoological park, 1.6 biodiversity park, and 1.7 is key. But this all topics you did not study, okay, because these topics are deleted from this chapter for this academic year, that is 2021, as there is 25% in the reduction of your syllabus. So you have to study from this chapter only the basic principles of life, that is the characteristics of life, and the rest all part of the chapter is deleted. So thank you for today. We will meet with a new chapter in our next lecture.